Hi YouTubers, this is Manic. How you going out there? This is just an OBS test. See if I'm live. I'm not quite sure how it works. Just bear with me. I think it's just done now. How you going YouTubers and artists out there? This is Manic. This is my first live stream with OBS. So I'm just doing a test. I'll probably restart it and then just actually do a proper live stream, see how I go. I'm just going to check out to see if I am live through OBS. See how we go. Just bear with me, guys. Like this is all a new learning curve. Live streaming's one thing, and that was a big hurdle. But doing live streaming with OBS and how it's all different. I'm not sure how it quite all works, but let's give it a go. Rightio. So if I switch counts and I do it, I mustn't touch. Manic. Says I'm live. I don't know how it all works. Let's see how it is. Yep, I've got a live chat there. How you going, Joseph? I don't want to mess with anything here with the OBS to see how it all works, but I can see on my tablet. Right, can you hear me? Right, there's obviously an echo. Let's sort this out. Turn that off there. Rightio. I don't know whether I need to, because I can just chat to you. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, could you please write that in chat, please, Joseph, my friend. Oh, Grumpy Vlogger's there. How you going? Is it looking good? Can you hear me? That's the important part. Because I need to get this so I can do the... See, I've got a split. I can change the screen. We'll tackle that first. See how... I don't know if that will work. Yep, so it must have a delay. See how I've got two screens. So basically you can see it must be quite a delay. It's all practice for me. Yes, it is quite a delay. So what I've got to do is just work with it. Just be confident that it's working. I'll try to use headphones, but can you hear me? Yes, this sounds great. I can hear you loud and clear. See, I'm not doing it through the sound mixer. I believe I've got a sound mixer like you have, Lloyd. And once I get that all hooked up, I had to get a male cable for my mic because I haven't bought my Yeti mic yet, but I will be. And that's next week. It's all slowly. Baby steps as well as budget. And I buy stuff each pension on my budget, and that's how I roll. So yeah, we're here. Oh, good. Thanks, Lloyd. Thanks, Lloyd. You've been a good supporter over the time, and vice versa, because I love watching your vids. Rightio. And I think this has been a good learning curve for me. I'm a lot quieter in the fact that I slow down when I talk, and I'm feeling a lot comfortable because this YouTube journey for all of us takes time. So I've finally spent the last couple of days off and on. I tried to do it this morning and it wasn't working too well. So what I did was I went down to the lake with my dog and just enjoyed myself and then come back with a fresh mind. And that's how I do it. Usually about 5 minutes to, oh, I see, yeah. So I just got to just be, like I said, be confident and realise that, because as long as you can hear me, because I'm in a soundproof room. I haven't totally made it acoustically adequate, where I'm putting padding along the walls. I've only got the padding along the walls to stop the neighbours from hearing me, because I'm in a one-bedroom unit and I'm adjacent. The person who lives next to me is on the other side of the wall. So I'm going to do some more padding behind it. I've got a great studio here, and it's just taken its time. I've got some lighting, and a lot of people have been asking me, how am I getting my video or my OBS looking so great? Well, I will be doing a video on that. Actually, you probably want to see my mug for a bit, because I mean, I have such a photogenic mug, don't I? Remember when I used to not want to be on YouTube because I thought I had a mug for a radio? Now I don't give a shit, I just sell it. So yes, this is Manic Magic, warts and all. This is how you'll get me, and I will keep it as basic as possible. It's like Redneck Art Channel without the redneck. It will be just basically the basics. When I use the colour paint red, it is red. None of all the other terms that I'm familiar with, the yellows, the blues, the reds, the greens, I'll be calling it green. I'll be calling it red. I'll be calling it purple. None of this mumbo jumbo jargon. The reason is I want to hit home to you, the artist that just wants to explode colour, explode excitement, explode inspiration. I want to do it. I'm basically turning the art back to the first lesson that one would get if they were a child or a later in life adult artist, where they just want to learn the basics. That's what I'm here for. Too many of the channels I see, they really over dramatise on the type of colour, what the name of the colour. It's very, very important in when you're beyond the basics, because you need to know the actual name of the colours. And the reason that is because certain colours will give you certain attributes. Because basically, when we study art, at the basics, it's the same for all of us. Is that I will get back to this, see, rightio. And you've got your basic colours. You've got your blues, and they can vary. At the end of the day, it's not going to make too much difference. We're using cheap paints. They're $1.50 in America, $3 in Australia. You can even pick them up for $2. Or you can go to garage sales and pick up acrylic paints. And when I say garage sales, where people are using house paints even. And they're chucking out little pieces of bits of paint. How you going, Mark? Or is that Jean, Mark? I haven't got my glasses. But I'm seeing, and then there's Sunny Storm. Sorry, I got distracted, but I just wanted to check to make sure people are watching me. How you going, Christopher? Yep. We got Lloyd, we got Joseph, we've got Christopher, we've got Sunny Stormy, and we've got Jean there, and yeah, it's just a few of the usuals. Thanks, guys, for supporting me. Just see if my glasses are here if I need them. It doesn't look like they should have been in my drawer, but anyway. Yeah, I can read it. It's not a problem, but I want to really see the eyes. But anyway, where I was getting at is I had a troll come in one day, in one of my earlier live streams when we were just chatting, you know, chewing the fat, and he was being a bit of an ass and saying that he was like eaten by a purple monster or something like that, and stopped being a Bob Ross and all the rest of it. And I didn't think I was being a Bob Ross, but I was all new. The way he was speaking, it was almost he thought I'd been on YouTube for years. But little he knew I was only on YouTube for a week at that stage. Actually, no, it was my second video, and I think I was my second, third day in. That's how new I was on doing content. Anyway, we're going to get criticism on our day 2, whether it's day 2 or day 102. And so I was very polite, and I kindly went back to him and I said, well, I'm very sorry, I'm only just learning at this, and it's all new to me. And art will speak for itself. I'm very good at art. I'm confident in being able to explain myself when it comes to art, being an art channel. And I learned a lot that a lot of people are into art, even if they're into drones and they're into horse riding and whatnot. People say you can't be into this and you can't be into that because you're a drone enthusiast. Because I love my drones too, and I have a drone. That's where I got my most supporter base from, drones. And grumpy blogger there, Lloyd, he can tell you too. He does likes vlogging, but he likes drones too. And he always jokes that he's not a droner, but he's more of a droner than I am, and I still think I'm a droner. And so you still keep droning on there, Lloyd. Anyway, I've proven, getting all these subscribers from all over the place, that we're all versatile creatures. Some of us like droning and RCing and art. And then there's their wives or their other half husbands, where they might be into droning or some other activity, or fishing or hunting, but they can be, their other half may be into art, so they'll pass it on to all their friends. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey getting to this stage where I'm get to OBS. I've got this big ass computer, and I've been able to do 2 cameras at the same time, and they're not going to overheat, and it seems to be all working live. And for the last couple of weeks, I've had a few heart issues, and I think it's basically, I've been a bit frightened because I want it to go well, and we all have our own little pride, and we want our journey to go well. So this is me, I'm here, and I'm so glad I've got over this hurdle, and I just want to move on and just get on with it, because, you know, I don't care if I've got 2 supporters here today. All I want to do is get over this journey of at least talking and doing and just getting on with it. So me bantering along, let's get to the nitty gritty. So before you do anything, before you worry about, say, books like this, you can get, here's the camera, why not? Let's learn how to use my resources. I do watercolours, I do acrylic painting, I do a lot of different mediums. I will get to the nitty gritty at a later stage. But this is not to be an expert. This is just to get ideas. You can pick these books up at newsagents, art shops, different places. And just gives you a few little tips and pictures, some subject matter, even if you don't get into the nitty gritty. They can be great resources. But, my friends, if you pick up gardening books, tattoo books, all sorts of books, car books, and get ideas from them, they're a lot cheaper. You can go to newsagents when they get them on sale. You can go to garage sales and car boot sales and pick up old magazines. You can go to second-hand shops, picking up old magazines and get some ideas. That's how I got into it the last year after I was in my bad sickness. I had to get back into it because I had a stroke, as well as I was in a coma, and I had to learn things all over again. So yeah, get into it, because these can be quite expensive, so you can get into the cheap stuff. But as you see, there's a bit of a study that I've done using 3 colours only. The reason why, you can buy greens and different colours straight off the shelf, right? Say for example, but as your journey goes, you're better off not using that. You can get lazy. The reason is, stick with your 3 colours. And even if you don't buy white, you can use a product called Gesso. You can get this in black, or you can get this in white. This has got two methods in using it. One, I can actually use it for sort of like painting, like paint, because remember, when we finish it, we'll varnish this whole lot and it will seal it. So it will protect it. So this is a good medium to be able to do layers, build the colours up, you seal the surface, use whatever you can do. See, what my mum always said, always use something that you can afford. My mum wasn't very wealthy. She was, in fact, to be polite, she was poor. So she'd use anything she could get her hands on. So we'd use anything. Being in Australia, we even used Vegemite just to try it out. We tried everything. We even used tea bags and soaked it and got the dye from the tea bags. We used onions, we used beetroot, we'd use all sorts for our arts and crafts. My family as a whole, even the ones that weren't very crafty, they learned how to be crafty. They had no choice because we couldn't afford to go to the movies, we couldn't afford to get takeout, so we did our own arts and crafts on a budget, and we knew how to entertain each other. And that's how we rolled. But the reason why I want you to use as lessons as blue, yellow and red, this is called our primary colours, without getting into the colour names. Because in this method you do not need to know the colour names. Because the reason is, you're using a transparent paint. And the only reason why it's transparent, because it's cheap. If you were to use that as a solid colour, you would normally have to use that, say, 3 layers to get the quality. And a lot of artists that you see online will omit that. To get a better quality paint, you may be able to just use it one off. But to be able to, and you can create any, as long as it creates colour, it's art. And this will often, when you use one layer and do a blue over it, after that's dried, it can turn into a purple. A lot of these areas here I've actually allowed to get dry or used a hair dryer. It's a really good tip. And when you overlap it, it actually does a transparency like 3D glasses. And that's how you create your transparency in your colours. So the yellow and red the blue and red will make your purple. Your yellow and blue will make your green. And your green and your yellow and red will make your orange. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied here. I actually need a sip of my drink. Sorry, guys. But so you can get a dearer paint. Just means you don't have to use it as often, meaning you don't have to do as many layers. Another thing I do is just as an advanced option, and we'll work this in, which tube is it? I've got it here somewhere. I might have it in my other box. I've got lots of paints here. I can't see it there, so it might be one of my boxes. That's okay. There's a sort of a brownie colour like this one. Yeah, I think it's over there. You probably can see it. And it's sort of like a goldy colour. The reason why I use that, it gives a nice contrast, and I often will use it as a back to seal it as well. Like this area, I'd seal it, It just gives a neutral colour, and it's very handy, and I will go into that sort of detail at a later date. That's a different paint now. But anyway, we'll keep it back to the basics. So we'll get into the nitty gritty here. Is again, just checking chat there. Yep. Oh, how you going, Rodney Bill? Rodney Bill, he's a great guy. Yeah, so as you see, I've used some of these things with ink. I have a special ink pen, that's another project. But I often will get these sketch pad books. And this one here I've just doubled up because I use them so much. And these are great because why some paper can be so expensive. And I mean, us poor broke people, we can't afford books after books. Like you can get Stretch's paint paper, and that can be quite expensive. It can be like $3 to $4 a sheet, where you can get this whole book for a couple of dollars. You can't go wrong. And what I do is, because it's cheap, this is how I acrylic paints is not too bad. When you're doing watercolours, this is great. You use this as a cheap way. And what these are placemats or cutting boards, like a plastic fold-up cutting board. They're fantastic. What I do is I get this special tape, and you can use normal masking tape, guys, but you'll need to put it on, a tea towel or a towel to, when you strip it out to that length, the length you require, I'll put that there so you can see it, is what you do is you just get it onto the cloth and put it down and then take it off a couple of times. The reason why you do that, and I'll get a piece of paper from, right, just an ordinary watercolour paper. This is A5 piece, and it's 300 GSM. It's quite a good quality. Stands up to the rigorous water that you have to apply with watercolours. But we're not doing watercolours today. That would be another thing. All we're teaching is how to blend colours and do the basics, like you would that even a kindergarten child will be able to pick up and learn, because I do it so basic. And what we do is, the beauty of this is, because if you wet this, it curls up. And with watercolours, it can even get worse. It can distort everything. And what I do is, I'll tear this off, just roughly. What you do is you just roughly work out just a bit of an edge. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate. And that's what I did on this one here. See how it forms a border? The reason why you do that is it's pleasing to the eye when you finish. I'm just having a rookie moment here, trying to take my tape off. Right, so I'm just doing that random. It's probably a bit thicker than I need to, but that's okay. I mean, you're cropping it anyway. You're basically cropping like you would if you were doing your editing. I mean, Rodney Bell, he knows how to do editing, so he'd understand that. He's a good editor. I mean, the great thing about this YouTube is that when you get to know people, you eventually become family. Like Rodney, he's a good Christian man, and we get on so well, and we support one another, and we have good values. But when I say that, I've got friends too that are a bit rough diamond and rough on the edges and that, and I can relate to them too, and we can have a lot of fun. Now, what I want to do is, there I can do some mixing of some colours there. But like I said, there's different books. These are different lessons that I've been trying out, where this is just acrylic. This is without mixing. This is, how would you put it? I don't mix the colours, I apply the colours, allow the colours to overlap to actually get your purples and your... It's a different technique that I've discovered and I've been working with, and it's really refreshing. It's different and it's unique. Where I do a lot of acrylic painting, where I do a lot of blending and using a lot of hue, meaning that's when you can get your shading in such a way that you can make pieces of cloth and whatnot curve and that. But that's a later stage. That's when you can get technical. So yeah, I get a bunch of these. As you see, they're all different coloured placemats. And see how I reuse the tape, where I use masking tape here. And when you used it several times, you can just reuse it, because all you're after is just to stretch your canvas. That's all you want to do. And here's a couple of, and what I do is I have a few on the go. What I do is this, where this is not finished, I might make up my mind. See, with studies, a lot of artists will come back and they'll decide, see, that's where the tapes just come up a bit, but that's okay, we can work with that, is because we're only going to be painting now in the centre. See, I've got more detail to do with the water and that, and a little bit more detail for the sky. But we might decide to put horses down here and change the whole scene. Might have just a brain fart and change our mind. And this one's sort of like got a bit of like the autumn background, and I can have bird could be up there, or there could be sheep. I want to put more detail with the water, and I might change it. I might have a few on the go, because sometimes I can have them drying a couple at a time, or I can cheat and use a hairdryer. I will get into that later and keep it practical. So I'll get that to one side so you can see that. So I had a boss one day when I was a stonemason, and he had 3 rules, and then he eventually added a new rule as we went along, which is fine. He says, always rock up for work, always have a ghetto blaster, and always have a packed lunch. And when he said it, he was very serious. I thought he was going to say some rules that I had to really listen to. But he said the 4th rule was always clean up after yourself as you go. If you do that and have a clean workspace, accidents won't happen so frequently, like spilling paint and spilling paper and all sorts of things. Now, so we're just going to do the basics today. I want this live stream just to run for an hour. And are you on still, Rodney? If you are, I'll just change the, just to show you my background. See, to show off the OBS, how the effect is. And what I want to do is put a green screen around my art border. A green screen around this area. So with my secondary camera, I'll be able to do borders. I'll be able to do themes like Christmas, Easter. I will have themes for Thanksgiving, even though it's not a big thing here in Australia. But remember, we're a global institution, this YouTube. So we might as well look at most of the holidays anyway that we respect or enjoy. Christmas, we'll have Christmas themes. And when I get this OBS sussed out and a lot more technical, I may even do it video style, where I have witches going across the screen and to have a lot of fun with it. But all I want to do is learn and get relaxed and baby steps, and not get put too many people off. Like Starcop Rick says, why do you need to go to all that trouble and whatnot? Because I want pride, I want to enjoy it. And this is what I do. And this is what I want to continue doing. So I think most of us can appreciate that. Rightio, we've got some water there. We've got some cheap brushes. And what we want to do is just, and getting back to that troll when we were talking earlier, I was polite to that troll, and then I said, well, what would you like me to do? And he said, I'd like to learn how to mix colours. So this is what we're here for on my first proper live stream with the art, because I was trying to do live streams earlier, but my camera was failing, and this and that. My computer wasn't keeping up, all sorts of things. So I thought I'll just hang in there and save and get there. Right. We might as well learn how to switch cameras all the time. And we'll do it vertical style this time. Okay. As you can see, the camera, show and tell. Right. As we've got just a cheap brush from the hardware store. That's all it is. I'll show you my good brushes later. My hate brushes for watercolours. I'm proud of them. They're expensive brushes. But we've got like $1 brushes, 50 cents some of them. All right. We've got different cheap brushes here. Just go with what you can afford. All of these probably $5 the lot. In fact, you go onto eBay, and I paid $3 for what was it, 20 brushes. And I've got them up there in one of my other jars. But at the moment, I've got brushes here. I've got a drawer here. What's going on here? Oh, that's right. Found my glasses. There, that's why it is. And I've got another drawer here. I'll just open this up. This is my little box that I close. Oh, how can I say it? Open and close this box. Right, I'll bring it back to the other camera so you can see it. This is great. So So this is just my portable box where I put my brushes and stuff like that, and my spatulas. Spatulas, I'll show you how to do mountains and different textures and that with spatulas. It's really great. We don't need them today. I've got pens, I've got textures, I've got rollers. You use rollers for the big areas. I'll be looking to that at a later stage. Plus there's a reminder colour chart I have in that. And I will go through that with you for mixing colours. Rightio, so that's just some of my brushes. Now, before we do anything, right, I'll put those brushes to one side. I've got the paints there. Rightio, these are little tackle boxes or little boxes that you buy them at a $2 shop, like, or what do you call them in America, like Christmas tree, what do they call them? Tree store, $1 tree, or what? I can't remember what they call them there in America. You got different shops where Dollar Tree, I think they call it, is you get these. These are only about $2, $5 max, $5, right? That's $2.50 American, and all they are is individual trays. And what I do is I put paint in there, and it doesn't matter if the paint dries out at the bottom. See, some of the paint I used and probably wasted a bit because I had to put my paint away and never used it for a while because I was busy with my YouTube. But what you do is you put some paper toweling in it and spray bottle it. Spray bottle the paint, paper toweling. Then I'll show you some really good tricks at a later stage to make your acrylic paints more durable and blend better. But that's another day. Today all we're after is learning how to mix colours. So yeah, you buy one of these and you get them various different outlooks and how you can have like half ones, higher ones. And all you want is to put paint in there and be able to put paper over it to spritz it to keep it. So by doing that you close it, the air doesn't get to it, and it saves your paint. Very good idea they are. So I'll get back. Yeah, get back to these paint brushes. Just use the camera. The cheap ones. I didn't look after this one. I left it in the jar with water, but at least it still works. I mean, these are my cheap paint brushes anyway, but I use them a lot. I love them. And I've got different other brushes that are fancy. You can even pick up at the craft store, say, one of these sponge brushes. They're okay, especially if we're doing messing around with learning as a study. Right. Now, back, these cameras are brilliant. I can do that and then have a drink at the same time. Isn't that great? This is the colour wheel. We'll probably do a colour wheel at a later stage where you can win prizes and things like that. Like Pusa Studios, who knows? I'll just check out chat. No worries. And if I keep these live streams short, people might come back and have a look. See how you got your yellow, your blue, your orange, a red, purple. And today we'll teach you the primary colours, how to do it. But then I'll touch on how to get your secondary colours. And then I can touch on, because there is the questions out there. How do I get grey? How do I get brown? Well, we have cool colours, warm colours. Cool colours are your greens, your blues, and that sort of thing, and your greys, and your bluey greys, and your turquoise, and etc. Because they've mostly got blue in them. And your warm colours are mainly red and your yellow crossbreeds, your hybrids. And so it all comes down to how much ratio you use to get warm colours. Right, brown is a warm colour, so that's why it depends on how much orange you get. How you get brown is you mix orange and blue or orange and purple, which is the opposite. And it depends on how much you use, what ratio. And that's how determined, and that's how, and the only way you can work it out is by practice. Now, to get your greys, you use a lot more blue. And yes, you can use a bit of gesso or white. I'm not going to make big rules and say you can't do that and that, but I avoid using black or white. But sometimes you might want a brilliant black for whatever type of art you want to do. But the style of painting that I'm showing as examples and illustrating is you can do brilliant painting without using black at all. It depends on what ratio greys and browns you use and blues, because we'll get into that while we're going along. But yes, if we can just, we'll, rightio, if you can see that. Rightio, just got a bit of a blue here. This is cheapest blue, cheapest paint you ever can get. Right, so, and as you can see, I've mixed a few colours, and as I go along, or you can mix them as you paint by how you overlap it. And we'll get into that at a later stage where we can make brilliant magic. This is what it's all about. Hence, my name is Manic Magic. The reason is because I thought, what name should I give myself? Because I'm manic, I'm a bit crazy. I've had mental health issues, but I've learned how to control it in a positive way. Instead, I use positivity and not negativity. That's why I don't like drama. I sooner shy away from drama. In fact, some of my friends reinstate that if you want drama, you go out and look for it. Often, if you don't look for it, drama won't come to you. And I believe that sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes that's when you just got to deal with it. And that's called conflict resolution. You've got to learn how to better yourself every day to solve conflict. And if you can improve yourself every day, you often won't get drama. You just got to have a positive outlook or keep away from it. I have this way of cloak yourselves with love. Basically, you want to work with people that surround yourself with people that are good people, and then you don't have drama often. Some people are just oxygen thieves, and when I say that, they can't be helped. Right, so there's yellow, right? We'll get another little brush. And there's red, obviously. And we'll get another brush. We're keeping it basic today. We've got our blue, right? Now we could probably go a bit, oh, that doesn't matter. Now we've got red and blue, right? And if we put a little bit more blue, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that quite well, but I'll get you to have a look up in the camera. That's made a form of purple, and it'll mix better once you've got there. Right, get another paintbrush, and we'll get a bit of yellow and a bit of red. Voila, we've made orange, just to prove. And again, I'm going straight away to yellow and green. Kindergarten stage, I do not care. We're here to learn, and people out there asking to get the basics, and that's what I'm here to do. Rightio, I'm just leaving those brushes there so they don't make a mess. Now, I'll click the camera and voila. I don't know if you can see that properly, as the OBS might pick up the green or whatnot a bit, but there's green, blue, orange, so you got your purple, orange and green. Because of the green, it's not the OBS is playing up, but if I was to click the camera, no OBS there, and I wonder if I could, there we are, we'll use that. See, I'm learning, this is all learning. See how it shows the green, orange, purple. Now, let's put it down and let's show. I'll just get a pen. Got everything at fingertips here. Now, that's called our primary colour, is your blue, yellow and red. Secondary colour is orange, purple, green. Now, if we were to mix orange and blue, and depending if you want whatever spectrum you go around, and then what you do is you're opposite to each, because that's why I did it in a triangle. If you go your opposite, say your purples and yellows, and your green and orange, and green and blue, it makes you different colours. So what you do, if you've got quite a volume of paint, you can just practice with that, and by using, I'll get another paintbrush. In fact, I'll get a bit of water now because I'm just doing acrylic colours with raw. So if I was to get a little bit of purple, and I'll take a little bit of yellow from that if I can. Oh, I can get a little bit more yellow from here. You get different colours. You get your greys and stuff and your browns. So if you just mess with that, a brown will often have a lot more orange with the blue. So if I was to see that how that's made a bit of a brown and the other one's a bit more grey. It all depends on the ratio. See how that, where is it? Change cameras. See how brown and grey, it all depends on the ratio of colours that you want to use. And what you do is you go home, or you do it when I do my live streams, and we'll do a practice. I'll do it in a greater detail. But the reason why we do this border, I'll just give you an example. And the beauty with messing up this, we can paint over it when it's dry. But when this is finished, when you take this off, see how that leaves a border? And I could have put that down a lot better, but it will leave a nice border. Let's try do a different one. Yes. So we're just showing you the basics. See how that's a lot more crisp because I did it a lot better. I didn't allow it to bleed. But this is all about experimentation. It's learning and just work with it. But if I was to do a really good art piece, I'd make sure, I'd fuss over it a lot better. I'd make sure it's really sealed down tight and make sure that, say for example, this one where I haven't got it bleeding. But remember, you can always get a bit of white paint just so, and mask it and just paint that border again a fraction. There's always doing things. I will stretch my canvases or my paper the same way with watercolours as well. And so that's basically the first lesson of how you get your primary, your secondary, and then getting your browns and greys. And your browns and greys will vary depending on the ratio of colours. Now I'll just do a third lesson before I don't know how long I've been going for. It will tell me 48 minutes. I should be learning to look at the camera like DNA, interactive DNA says put some eyes on your camera so you look at the people. Rightio. Now, I'll just use this because I can paint over it. When I do this, I'll get some water. Now, what paint do I have? So I don't want to use a lot of paint because that's unnecessary. Right, I've got plenty of yellow here. Let's get this green, there, yellow. Get another paintbrush maybe. Here's one, just rightio. I get some water just to soften it. That's all I want. See how you got yellow? Now you can mix as you go. Like here's, I'll get some blue because it's cheap paint. See how the blue and yellow's just going over the top is turning into your green. As simple as that, or you can allow it to dry and then get a different transparency. that's how I've done that, is I allow all the colours to dry first and then move on and then do another layer. Now, where's the red? Now what I'm going to do is show you just one tip before I go. We can even use gesso. Oh, this one's new, that's all right. What this is a medium that seals your paper, as well as you can use it with your painting. And I'll just rinse out the brush. Is you can, if you want to change it altogether, is you can lighten certain areas and see how that's totally different. Lighten that area, and even with that little bit of yellow in it, it doesn't matter. And see how you've created a totally different colour again. It just gives a different definition. And so hence, you've created a totally different palette. Now, so I won't waste that paint. That's why I'm just using the lid. See, I'm a bit frugal. Coming from a background that hasn't had a lot of money, right? It's hence, if you want to do a rock, you can get the gesso first, and what you do is you get your gesso, and to do a rock, you basically get, this is good for texture, is I'll get a spatula, you can use a spatula or a brush, say for example, and you can allow that to dry, and then what you do is then you create hue, or you can create shade. And what you do is, this particular painting as a lesson, I know the sun's coming that way, and that's why hence it's lighter on that side and darker on that. Actually, you can't see that because, right, yeah, sorry. As you can see here, this is a good example. See, it's dark on that side, light on that side. The sun's coming that way. You've got to imagine the sun's going that way, all over the place, but from behind these items or subject pieces or subject, the grass, stones, etc. See how it's lighter on top, darker behind. So say the light is coming from this direction here, right? I want this darker here, and I want this area here lighter, and I want that to be textured. So what I do is, to make it lighter, darker, I go like that, and even if I just do that once only, where's my blue? So you mix up enough paint, you would, to keep working with it. And the reason why you use blue, and you can use then grey, and this is behind the stone. What you do is you just crisscross it to create a bit of texture. Right, so you allow that to dry and see how that's already starting to pick up characteristics of a rock. Characteristics of a rock. So then you can actually get a darker brown after you've mixed up your colours, or you can just allow it to dry and put, say, red, and that will actually make it more like a purple. That won't matter. As you can see, it's pretty runny paint. But that's okay, it's what you can afford. See, what will happen is it will dry. And that's where the light source is, even on that edge. And it will be darker there when I add more blue, and that will make it darker again once I do the layer upon layer. The reason is the white, even the lighter colour, that's where the light's going to hit it. So once I add a bit of blue or whatever colours I want, and give it texture, even by mixing it like that. Yeah. And then once you've done that, then you can add detail later, where you put your cracks in there and all the rest of it, and that's how you can do it. Just put that up so you can see that, and see how that can then start looking like a rock. But once you've done that, then you add another rock over the top, and what you do there is, so you don't get the transparency through that rock, you allow that to dry, and that's when you come back with your gesso and you totally paint in another rock that's overlapping it. So you do another rock, even if it's smaller or whatever, or even a big rock that's in the foreground. See, what you do is you have a foreground, the middle ground, and the background. And there's rules of thumb where it's better to do the background first, lighter, but you use your darker colours when you can, and then add the light colours. When doing clouds, you use your dark colours first. There's different rules of thumbs that you can use, but at the end of the day, art is just creativity. Just have fun. And we'll get into the more technical sides of it when painting clouds in detail, and have a bit of fun with that, and one lesson at a time. Now, thank you guys for coming. I will go back and analyse this live stream and see how I'm going, how I can improve, get ideas on what my next step is, what my next learning material should be to give you, and just like I said, just reanalyzing myself, just to better myself as well as better anything we do every day, every step of the way. And yes, the colours just pop, and this is, I can actually advance this where it can be like gems. I'll give you an example of one that I've been doing, and all it started was with yellow, red and blue ribbons. This is not finished either because it's a work in progress. These vines were just red, blue and yellow ribbons overlapping, and eventually you just try to create shade texture. And I'll be getting 2 more lights here, so the lights will make the brilliant colours pop more, because it all comes down to lighting. People have asked me why is my camera so good. It's because you can get, all I've paid is $100 for these cameras, and there's no moving parts, so they don't get hot. It's all run from the computer and it can handle it. But a trick to make a $100 camera turn into a $700 camera is just $50 worth of lighting. I paid $50 for my 4 lights, and that's what makes it like a $700 camera, and that's why it's so sharp and brilliant. And it's shot at 1080p, and it's the best webcam cameras you can get on the market. And I endorse them. When I say endorse, I recommend them to use, but I'm not affiliated with any products whatsoever. All I do is I've studied what I want and try to get the best of what I can use and what I can afford. I could spend thousands of dollars and still maybe not even get the better results. I'm happy just spending $100, $150 including the lights, because it costs $100 for the cameras and $50 for the lights. You can't go wrong. And like I said, they're not overheating. I've witnessed and seen Ken Heron many times where his camera's overheated. We've got Paul Farmer, JT Farmer, his cam, he's having problems with that, and hopefully he'll overcome it. But see how it shows up, and we'll just show it up to the camera. So see how I've got the wine grapes, and I'll put some more texture on that, and I've just used texture in the vines. I don't know if that shows up. There you go. And it just makes it darker, lighter. And once I add more colour, yellows, blues and reds, wherever I want to, it'll be great. Now I'll just change the camera again, just so I can show you what's happening. That's right. Works better in this texture. Starting to get the gist of this. Oh, look at that, freaky, because I've got the green screen. It's cut out all the green. That's cool, eh? That's a work of art in itself. Yeah, so a lot of fun. I'm having a bit of fun with this green screen. It's on my first day, and I hope to create the magic in what I do, and it'll be a lot of fun. So I'll just put this stuff away. So yeah, as I go, it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully we can improve. So it's been about an hour for this live stream. Baby steps. I hope to add a bit of music to it, just lightly in the background, so when I'm pausing or whatever, you'll be able to hear a bit of music, because sometimes I'll be able to just paint and talk, but if I can help myself, because I talk a lot, when there's times there won't be any of that lull of silence. And so yeah, and I'll change the pictures up each time. I won't make it boring. I'll change it up. I've got many pictures that I can get from different areas on my computer, and it'll be a lot of fun. So get rid of that gesso so it doesn't make a mess. As I do that, because I can paint over that. As I said, I'm frugal. I'll use that. It'll give texture. Won't matter. It'll be a lot of fun. So now, how do I do this? Who we've got on there? Hi country, how you going there? I'm going good, thanks mate. We just had a bit of we're doing an OBS test basically, and while we're doing it, we thought we'd mix a few colours and do. If you ever want to see anything, I will do mixing colours in a better form, a bit more professional. But we're just winging it at the moment, just with a little bit of knowledge that I already have, just making it straight, straight what knowledge I have in my head, and eventually I'll get better and better. But as I said, it's my first live stream with OBS. it's a learning curve in that alone. So I'm not really concerned about the content. All I'm out to is to get the text sorted out. So just to show you, I can do 2 screens. I can do some of my art here. Eventually I have this whole space filled and I'll do my art. At the moment I'm just doing a bit of a workshop, a bit of a tutorial. You see my cam there that does my mug there, so you can see me here, right? But when I change the cam, I then can have it down here and I can do a big painting. And as I do OBS, I will be able to do borders around it. So it should get a lot smart looking. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Now that I've done mainly live streams, I tried to do live streams and videos on my art, and even when I was doing videos, the cameras that I had, and even my tablet wasn't working. And so I had to buy a new computer, buy some cameras, buy some lighting, and things are looking up. So yes, while you're in the chat, as the chats will grow, I'll be able to get 40 people in there like I used to. I had to have a bit of a break for health reasons, and plus while I did that, I just played a lot of games and messed around with my computer and stuff, and did a bit of editing and learning stuff. And that's why if you follow my channel there a bit, you'll see I've just been doing a bit of creativity, learning how to edit, learn how to do all sorts of things. And it's all been a learning experience, a big learning curve. So yeah, if you haven't checked out my friend RC, he's got an art channel and he's just got his OBS too, and we don't want to compete with each other. All we want to do is share each other's content, share each other's techniques, share each other's knowledge, and just have fun. We'll probably down the track be doing some sharing our live streaming where we'll go on each other's panel and we'll do art together. And yeah, he'll be able to learn off me and I'll learn off him, I'm sure. And just to be able to mix it up a bit and have a bit of fun. Because you just don't want me jabbering along. Where if you've got a couple of people, and who knows, down the track, we might be able to get a couple of celebrities on. You never know. It's been in the pipeline for a while. And we're just slowly, baby steps. And as you know, some of you, as you know, I've had a stroke, I've been in a coma, I've had all sort of health issues. So I've had to overcome those sort of things, learn how to walk, let alone, and learn how to paint without dealing with pain. Believe me, when you've got a lot of pain, you really can't concentrate on painting a lot. You can paint, but you can only do it for so long. Now that I'm nearly pain-free and my health's getting better, I can give you some good quality work. I hope I can achieve that. So yes, I'm just watching everything. It's just 1 hour and 8 minutes. Not that I'm worried about it. Eventually, when I start getting some good content and I'm on a roll and I'm doing a painting or doing some good studies, I'll go as long as I like. I mean, people, if they'll only pop in, pop out, and just keep going. But at the moment, I want to just get some content out there, enjoy myself, go back and see what I've done, and just improve. So with no further ado, I'll end this live stream. Thanks guys for coming in. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. That'd be great. I'm trying to get my 1,600 subscribers. I haven't been chasing any subscribers. I'm just creating organic subscribers now, and it's been a lot of fun. And I know once I start doing my art, it will speak for itself. I've got some really good ideas, and I'm not just blowing smoke. It's just one step at a time. It'll be a lot of. I'm sure you guys be looking forward to seeing what I can create. I mean, I've done some really nice trailers and that, hopefully to entice new people in and get excited, because I'm excited. And eventually, once I get a lot more confidence and excitement, I'll be as crazy as ever. I'll be able to entertain. I'll be your clown and mentor at the same time. So yeah, thanks guys. No one else has come in. Hit that like if you can, would be great. I'll emphasise that at every live stream. You all got blue wrenches here, so you've all been here before. I've had no trolls, but if we have trolls, just embrace them. Only if they get vulgar or rough, then we'll block them, because I want to keep my channel clean. I want to try to keep it nice. I want content even my pastor will be able to watch with pride. Okay, guys, I'll catch you all later. Take care. You too. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Here or stop this. Stop.